Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Zelda Inquiries. This is technically our second episode of 2016, but there's a lot of reasons our very first episode never came out, and you'll probably never see it. I'm really sorry, Jonathan and Julia, who were supposed to be on that episode. But we're here nonetheless. We'll be here every single week from here on out for the rest of 2016. I don't know the exact day we're going to be releasing this on yet. But whatever day this comes out on, that's the day we're going to be coming out every single week. So, watch for it. This week, I am joined by our brand new, recently promoted managing editor, Darren.
Woo. Yeah, my name's Darren Haar. I'm the managing
editor
on our
very
Zelda
first
Informer,
episode.
and I do a lot of news stuff.
Yes, he does. Yes, he manages our news team. He's been with us for a little over a year, and he's recently been promoted. And then we also have RMFH, a.k.a. Rick. That's like his real name. He does YouTube videos and like theory videos and all this stuff. If you have been to our website, you've probably seen some of his videos because we've posted, I think, like over half of the ones he's made. So, hey, welcome.
What's up, guys?
Awesome. All right, so for those who forgot, because we haven't done a Zelda Inquiries in over a month, this is a series where we answer your questions. Your questions could be about Zelda. It can be about anything to do with Nintendo, whether it's another franchise you want us to talk about. It can be just about Zelda, or Nintendo in general. You want us to talk about NX or anything like that. This is also, a big year this year because it's the 30th anniversary of Zelda. Don't know if we have any questions related to that, but technically it's not the 30th until February 21st, I believe. But we'll get to that next month. So if you guys want to ask questions for this series to be answered every single week, you could do so down below in the comment section, wherever you are seeing this video. If you're on Twitter, we'll put up a tweet every single week with a hashtag that'll let you guys respond to that and ask questions. On Facebook, we'll put up a post for you guys to ask questions every week. On our website, you can just ask those questions right away in the comments below. On YouTube, on the video itself that you're watching right now, you can do it down in those comments. And if you share it on some other site, I'm sorry, we probably don't have access to those comments like we normally do. So, anything that's branded Zelda Informer, we will take your questions in. And just so people are aware, since it's kind of an introduction to the series for many of you viewers. We will be doing this not only once a week, but these episodes are basically an hour and a half to 2 hours long in general. Some might be shorter, some might be longer. I'm hoping they never go longer than 2 hours. And then throughout the week leading up to the next episode, we release clips of individual questions that had really, really great discussion points from our prior episode. So even if you don't want to sit through this whole big, long spiel, as an example, this whole introduction will not be in its own video. You can kind of wait for our smaller videos if you like, digesting things in smaller chunks. Otherwise, listen to this on your way to work. Listen to it when you're working out. We hope you have a good time because we enjoy answering your questions. So now that I've just talked for like a few minutes, let's get right into the whole reason we are here. And that's answering your questions. We're going to jump right in. All of these questions today come from Twitter and Facebook because we didn't have time to organize it on anything else because it was an unplanned recording. So this one comes from our Facebook page, Charla Lambos Savas. Again, I really apologize when I butcher your guys' names. I am as American as it comes pronouncing things. I'm probably the worst. So they asked, do you believe that Nintendo might reconsider to use, I'm guessing they meant to say, the use of a traditional gamepad controls for future Zelda games instead of motion controls, such as Twilight Princess on Wii? Well, Darren, I'll let you start with this one.
All right. I don't really understand what he means. Does he mean that they?
I think he's because you gotta remember the last console Zelda we got was Skyward Sword that used motion controls, and the one before that, if he played it on Wii instead of GameCube, also used like waggle and stuff. So basically, a form of motion control. So I think he's kind of asking if Nintendo is going to reconsider the use of like using traditional controls for future Zelda games. I think that's what he's asking, since we've had two console games in a row that didn't.
So, like, will Zelda U have full-on motion controls?
Well, I think a bit. I'm just looking at it now. It says, "Do you believe that Nintendo might reconsider the use of traditional pad controls for future Zelda games instead of motion?" So I think he's asking if we think Nintendo's going to use traditional controls over motion controls in future games.
I would hope so, because I am not a fan of motion controls.
That's what I get out of it, anyways.
Yeah. I mean, like, even using gyro aiming with the gamepad, I've never been a fan of motion controls, just because I like how precise you can get it to use with traditional controls. I feel like motion controls don't work as well, especially on Skyward Sword. I hated them on Skyward Sword. And really, I don't think there will be motion control support for Zelda Wii U, because Nintendo really wants to show support for the Wii U and its special controller. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I think if we're going to see motion controls, I obviously think gyro aiming is kind of a given, especially for Zelda U, because it still uses the gamepad, and the gamepad has gyro sensors. So they kind of did that with the Wind Waker HD. So I would expect that to come back. Otherwise, I feel like it's going to be mostly traditional controls with a few things on the touchscreen, like your inventory.
Yeah.
I think if there's a chance for like Wii controls to come back, it would mostly just be Twilight Princess HD, because they already have a version of that game that had the Wii controls. So in theory, they could have that as a control option for the game. I feel like they're not going to do that, and if they do, they're not going to advertise it, because if you're getting Twilight Princess HD, it means you own a Wii U, and all Wii U owners are only guaranteed to have one certain type of controller. And that's going to be the controllers they're going to advertise, and that's obviously their touchscreen, what they call the gamepad, which is really weird they call it a gamepad, since gamepads is just a general term for controllers anyways. But that's just me having issues with Nintendo's naming conventions.
New Nintendo 3DS.
Oh man, it's not a Wii; it's a Wii U. But setting aside that kind of stuff, I feel like for those people who really love motion controls, like I really loved the motion controls in Skyward Sword. If it was up to me and it was just about pleasing me, that would be our control scheme for the end of time. And I'm
Nate,
sure
don't
I can already
say that.
feel the hate. I can feel the hate already coming.
Yeah.
Oh man, even that Defend It series, when they defended Skyward Sword, even the guy defending it said the controls suck, and I just wanted to throw my monitor out the window when I was watching it. Because I'm like, how can you defend Skyward Sword, but then like the biggest part of the game, what it's entirely built around, you still hate? Like, then you're not really defending it.
That just shows how sucky the motion controls are.
No, they are not that bad. People used to complain, you always got to recalibrate and all stuff. Like, I didn't have to do any of that. Like, if you'd paid attention to all the tutorials, which there were a lot of tutorials, but apparently there's good reason there's a lot of them, because if you don't pay attention to them, the controls are probably going to suck. Because everything was fully explained, like how everything worked. Like when you pull out an item, like, oh, I'm not centered on the screen. I'm like, did you read how that item works? Like, you're not centered on the screen because you were pointing the controller in a wacky position when you took the item out. But like, people didn't really pay attention to that stuff, and they got all frustrated. They would like flail their arms like really, really quickly to do sword strikes when the tutorial specifically says to do slow motions. So, like, it seemed more like people were complaining because the controls didn't work the way they wanted them to work. But that's my opinion. Obviously, there is, like, such things as, like, interference and stuff. Obviously, Nintendo, when they first showed off the game on the show floor, they had interference. So that's obviously a real issue and a real complaint. And that's just even more prevalent with motion controls. You'll still see it with some wireless controllers, but motion controls are going to be the most affected. But, yeah. So if I had it my way, that they would all be motion control outside of handheld, because I don't really feel motion controls work on such a tiny screen. But I guarantee you Nintendo does not agree with me at all. Skyward Sword, according to them, was a failure in terms of sales. It was not, it sounded like they expected to sell 10 million units, and they barely broke 3 million. So they were not pleased with that. So if I had to guess, they are going to cater to the people that really, really, really like standard controls.
Yes.
And that's.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we've seen, we've only actually seen Zelda U controlled one time. That was over a year ago, and a lot of things can change, but it was all with the gamepad. So anything the gamepad can do will be put into it, but the gamepad has all the buttons and the twin sticks.
And there was gyro aiming in that video.
There was gyro aiming,
that.
but like I said, that was also in the Wind Waker HD. So like, if that's the kind of motion controls you're worried about being in the game, like that's going to be in the game. I also guarantee they're probably going to be optional. Well, maybe not. Maybe it won't be optional. Maybe if you're really worried about gyro aiming, or like if you have to hold the gamepad up to like looking through it like a lens of truth kind of thing, like as cool of an idea as I think that is, if you absolutely hate that kind of thing, I mean that actually might be in the game, and there might not be any other way to do it. So I have no idea. But you specifically mentioned like Wii style controls. I think we're done with that. I think, especially with NX on the horizon, I'm pretty sure anything associated with Wii, they're just going to throw out the window. They're going to try to disassociate from that brand, and that includes the Wiimotes. So, yeah, I kind of agree with Darren in the sense that they're going gamepad and Pro Controller and whatever the NX is from here on out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And personally, I think it's a good idea to just get rid of the Wiimotes altogether, to be honest.
And it's
there
like a
were
dated
some
technology
aspects
now,
that
too.
were fun. Yeah, it is. There were some aspects of Skyward Sword that were fun. Like, I enjoyed flying the loft wing and stuff like that. But when it came to the sword,
that was the one control I didn't enjoy.
Oh, okay.
That's okay though. See, stark contrast.
Yeah, but as for like the sword, I wish they would have just locked that to the A button or whatever, or B button or whatever, rather than putting it on the motion control. And I mean, Link just looked funny running around with the sword out to the side and everything. So it just made the game, playing as Link, looking at him, he looked unnatural. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Compared to prior games where he holds the sword naturally, or things like that. I don't know. I think they need to move away from that. The gyro feature is actually pretty cool, but I think that's as far as it should go. Yeah.
So to kind of summarize, Char, Lambo, Savas, basically, we all pretty much feel they're going to be using more traditional controls from here on out, because that's just what the Wii U has. That's we have no idea what the NX is going to have, but it's probably not going to be another Wiimote. Gyro controls are are a real thing that'll probably exist. We've already seen footage of Zelda U at least using some gyro controls. So yeah, that's kind of where it stands. The Wii remote itself and all those controls are probably, outside of gyro stuff, are out the door. So yeah, thanks for your question. It's always good pondering, what Nintendo's going to do with future Zelda games control-wise. The next person also comes off Facebook here. This is Jonathan Briones. They asked, do you think we'll ever see a Legend of Zelda game with technology similar to Xenoblade, kind of like a futuristic world?
That's definitely an interesting question. I mean, I've played Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I could definitely...
I hate you. I want to play it so bad.
I could definitely see a Zelda game taking place in that world, because it's not really technology-centered. There's a hub where there's a lot of technology used, but out in the open world, it's a lot of, adventuring old style. I mean, some of the weapons are technology-based, but some of it's like abilities or magic or whatever, too. So I could definitely see Nintendo doing that. I mean, I don't think they'll do it with Zelda U, because as we've seen, it's all like forests and mountains, and maybe Zelda NX, who knows?
Personally, I haven't played any of the Xenoblade games or anything like that, but Darren, are any of the like pieces of technology powered by mana in that game, or similar to like Final Fantasy?
I don't believe so. It's been a while since I've played, but I do not believe so.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say if it was, I could see Zelda kind of going that route only because of like almost like the time shift stones, or it's all based off of some kind of energy.
Yeah, I could see that
in a way. Yeah, so like going that route technology wise instead of being super advanced.
Well, there's things we got to remember too. First off, one of the original ideas for the series involved going to a futuristic world. That was in the very first Zelda game. It got scrapped because the NES couldn't handle it. And apparently, I need to double check the source on this. This comes from a YouTube video. They wanted to do that thing again with Ocarina of Time. When you travel to become an adult, they wanted to actually revisit the traveling to a futuristic world concept because the N64 can handle it. And that got shot down by upper management or something like that.
They kind of did that with Skyward Sword, though, because it was weird because
in a way,
going back to the past.
Skyward Sword was more so like way in the past, distant past. We had all this tech. You see some remains of it, but you're not gonna see the full breadth of it or something like that.
Yeah. Because when you use the time shift stones, you'd go back and you'd see like the robots and the electronic powered like mine carts or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of an interesting point. They do already have some modern and futuristic technology going on.
Train.
If you look at just the Zelda U footage, the very first thing we see. Outside of the world and Link being on, who we presume to be Epona, you got that giant robot thing, monster thing that shoots laser beams. Obviously, laser beams aren't new to the series. And then you see Link kind of pull out like a power arrow that has a button that makes a magical blade appear, and he shoots it. We've seen a spell book thing, or whatever book he had on his hip in the last footage. That looked like it might have had a glow to it that resembled kind of like the arrow and the boss and the enemy that we saw. So it's kind of like technology is already in the series. So if you're just kind of talking about like a technology standpoint, futuristic types of technology is already in the series. It just doesn't oversaturate the series. Like there isn't anything that takes place in a world that is almost exclusively, how to put it, exclusively futuristic, like a Xenoblade. You're not going to walk into a town, at least as far as we've done so far, like New Las Vegas in Xenoblade Chronicles X. That kind of town is probably never going to exist in a Zelda game.
I do agree with that, yeah.
So if that's what you're looking at, because like I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles X yet. I plan to buy it. I'm probably going to play a lot of it over the summer. I might even do some live streams of it. But it's to me, from all the footage I've seen, it's a lot of, you have the New Las Vegas, you have your tech and your mechs and all this stuff, and then the world itself still seems almost a little, pretty raw. Because from what I understand, the story base is like, this is like the last of humanity, and they're trying to reestablish themselves in a new world or something like that. Darren could probably correct me if I'm wrong because he's actually played it.
No, that's
but that was the
accurate.
impression I got. Yeah, that was the impression I got. So, so in a sense, you could see something like Xenoblade where like there's a lot of technology and the world is still pretty raw, because they're new there. But in Zelda, everything kind of takes place in the same realm. I mean, you have parallel worlds where anything is possible, but in general, most of the adventures take place in Hyrule or a land adjacent to Hyrule, and it's if there's a large technological boom, it's probably still not going to be as raw of a world because that technology would have been born in that same world. So it's definitely possible that they could do it because it is an idea they've had, and Eiji Aonomu has been slowly implementing technology into the series more and more. But to get to the level of Xenoblade, I don't think they're ever going to hit that fully futuristic world. I think the closest we can get is if they ever decide to visit the pre-Skyward Sword world where all that technology existed. And we call it futuristic for Zelda. That would actually be ancient times. So it's kind of interesting how Zelda kind of flips the script. Like almost if you want to see this technology, you got to go back in time, not forward. But I don't know. That's really all I have to say on that. I haven't played the Xenoblade Chronicles X enough, and it's been forever since I played Xenoblade Chronicles. So yeah. Anyone else have anything to add?
Nope.
I think you pretty much summed it up. Yeah.
Yep. So I hope that answers your question, at least on what this panel here feels. Possible, not likely. We'll see some things because we already do. So Jeffrey Coleman, also from our Facebook page. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that one right. Point for Nate. Yeah. When Zelda Wii U title comes out of the the merchandising is going to be beyond anything we've been exposed to before, and could possibly outdo the now dying down Star Wars rush. Anyone want to contest me on that one? I will contest you on that one hardcore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Zelda Wii U might be the most merchandising that we'll probably see for a game out of the Zelda series, just because of Amiibo. And guaranteed we're going to have Amiibo for that game, various types of Amiibo. We'll probably get some t-shirts, and it's the 30th anniversary, so we're already going to get a push. But in general, what we just saw with the Star Wars rush is going to be more than we're going to get for the entire 30th anniversary of Zelda.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it will not come anywhere near close to a Star Wars.
I was like, go to your local toy store, or your local Walmart. There'll be an entire section of the store dedicated to just Star Wars toys. That's not going to exist for Zelda. It's just not going to happen, unless you go to the Nintendo World Store or whatever they're rebranding it to.
It's Nintendo NY.
Yeah, Nintendo NY, Nintendo New York. So they'll have like a section for Zelda there for the 30th, but I mean, that's it. That's a Nintendo only store. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I said my piece. You guys got anything to add? Because it almost seems ridiculous that you would want to compare the push that Zelda's going to get compared to multi-billion-dollar franchises in Star Wars.
Yeah. Disney, and comparing Disney and Nintendo is that's a little difficult to come to a good agreement there.
Now, if Disney were to buy Nintendo, that would be a different story.
There you go.
yeah, and obviously, some people have proposed Disney buying Nintendo before. It's probably never going to happen. But I just the statement you're making is almost like I just can't even think you're being serious about it. If you are, then you really just don't understand how big Star Wars is. The amount of money that last movie made is more than Zelda's probably ever made, like combined. So it's just two different mediums, and Nintendo doesn't do tons of merchandising like that. In fact, if you go out and you buy, because we advertise some official merch or whatever, if you go to Hot Topic and you see some Zelda merchandise, most of that merchandise is like Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess. Like that's what it says on the tags. So it's like, yeah, Zelda Wii U might have more, but I mean, you got to remember the Wii U itself isn't selling that well. So like Zelda Wii U is probably not going to sell that well because there's just not a lot of people who own the system. That's just kind of a reality we're entering in. Unless for some reason it becomes the game that every Wii U owner has to own, so then 10 million people buy it, which would be awesome. But I will contest you on. I will bet my life savings.
Yeah, which is mine like too. Can I get in on that?
Yeah, like Jeffrey Coleman, want to make a bet? Like, let's put some money down in this thing. Like, I'll bet my entire next year's income that it will not be even close to the Star Wars rush. And the thing is, the Star Wars rush isn't going anywhere. They have a new video coming out like every year, like a new movie, with mainline movies hitting every 2 to 3. So like, yeah, yeah. We're just gonna move on.
Case closed.
Hey, so don't get me wrong, that's going to make a real awesome mini episode because people are going to be like, "What? Someone really asked that?" So sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of you, Jeffrey Coleman. Just you asked us to contest it, so
it's a very interesting question.
Yes, we're going to hop on over to our Twitter here. We're going to go straight from that into another silly question. This comes from @BadLuckPikachu. They said, if Ganondorf was blue, would he be called Ganon Smurf?
I love that.
Like, I mean, this feels like the perfect transition question.
Well, that's interesting. I think it might be because Ganondorf has kind of like a blue and black costume in Legends, so that might be where it's coming from. But I know they're not calling him Ganon Smurf, so maybe I'll name my amiibo Ganon Smurf and paint him blue.
What if it's just gotta go fast? It's Sonic related, man.
Ganon Sonic.
I mean.
Yeah, someone go make a custom amiibo of Ganondorf as a Smurf, please.
Oh man, where is my? Okay, I got my Ganon amiibo right here. Where's my blue paint? No, yeah, no, he wouldn't be called Ganon Smurf, but I mean, you can call him Ganon Smurf if you want. You could, you know what? At Bad Luck Pikachu, if you can like customize a Ganon amiibo to be like a Ganon Smurf, or like if you could take like a Smurf figure and customize it to be Ganondorf, I guarantee, like if we post it and we work with you, we could probably make Ganon Smurf like a trending topic on Twitter. If you really want to go for it, we could probably pull it off.
Well, hey, the ZI votes I posted this week was if Zelda could cross over with any or should Zelda cross over with more franchises, and there's a franchise of Smurf games, so why not?
Hey, Nintendo says they're getting into the TV stuff. Smurfs was the TV show. Time to come back.
Yeah, get on it, Nintendo.
They can replace the entire Minish with Smurfs. All right. Well, thank you for that question. That's gonna make
an interesting like standalone clip.
Right. So thank you at Bad Luck Pikachu for that nice comical thing. It's always good to add a little fun into the serious conversations we get into at times. This one also comes from Twitter from at Hyliangaro. I know it's Hylian. I'm just really bad at pronouncing it. So at Hyliangaro. See, I can't do it. Anyways, this guy on Twitter.
Yeah, this random guy.
This dude said, what would you think of the ability to choose or tame your horse from a group of wild horses in Zelda Wii U?
That's very interesting.
Let's let RMFH or totally just Rick let you go at it.
That would be awesome. I'd love to see that in the next installment in Zelda Wii U or even any future games, to be honest. And hopefully this black horse that we're riding isn't legitimately a pony. I mean, yeah, we're all assuming it is, but it could just be some horse that they found and, tame themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, there's plenty of horses in the background, so I don't see them not doing it. And being able to, they're talking about being able to customize a lot of things. I think that would be one of those things.
It could open up a lot of possibilities too, because different horses could have different abilities, like they could jump higher or run faster or something. So if you're further in the game and you're in like a specific area with a lot of hard enemies, maybe you could find a more rarer horse there that had a lot of good abilities compared to your current horse.
And what would be really cool is if you could switch horses during the game. So, you tame a horse, and, you're riding it for a while, and you just decide that, you just learned a different type of horse has, like you said, a jumping ability that you might be able to, jump across a creek or something, or even across a small gap. It would be cool if, maybe you could just go retame another one. Well, what happens to the old horse? I don't know.
Go to a horse ranch.
Go to a horse ranch? I mean, in reality, you'd probably just slaughter it and eat it, but don't know they go that far in Zelda Wii U.
Zelda U rated T for teen.
Hey, Twilight Princess rated T for teen.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I think it would be really, really cool. there's a lot of people that will keep pushing It's Epona, and you can thank Shigeru Miyamoto for that one.
Yeah,
he was the one in the footage that specifically called the horse Epona when Eiji Aonuma kept referring to him as a horse.
Yeah, and Aonuma was like, "Yeah, now we're riding on her horse, on Link's horse." And Miyamoto's like, "Oh, Epona!" I was like, "Oh, right. Come on, man."
Yeah, and for to remember, Shigeru Miyamoto doesn't really work on Zelda games anymore, so he wouldn't have any idea. So of course he would just assume it's Epona. Especially if this is an actual raw reaction, like maybe this is one of the few times he's seen the game at that time. So the guy who's actually making the game never once said it was Epona. So that's important to remember now. Obviously, like any change, like as cool as this change would be, like any change in Zelda, there's going to be some of you guys that are like, no thank you. Epona's tradition. I want Epona. That's great. It is entirely possible that you could still tame horses, and one of the horses you could find is Epona. But yeah, I mean, they from the footage we've seen, there's been a lot of focus on horse riding. So like, it would be pretty cool if they really made, like, they keep saying they want to do open world in their own way. And one thing a lot of open world games don't do is necessarily give you options on your main method of travel or your main method of doing things. As an example, like in Grand Theft Auto, you're pretty much killing people by punching or using guns. There's not a lot of other options. In The Witcher 3, it's that same horse. You're using that same horse all game long. So like to kind of break traditions from normal open world games, you can actually make it more open by allowing this ability to tame horses. And there's a lot of other cool things you could do with that, crafting, like you craft your own gear or stuff. But yeah, I think that's a really good idea. At Hylian Garo, sorry, I still can't do it. Yeah,
definitely
cool
good idea.
Didn't even think about it. Never even crossed my mind until just now. That was a good question. That was a good one. We'll go back to Facebook quick here. All right, so this is kind of a cool hypothetical question. Amaru Ray said, "I'm not sure if this one has been done or asked before, but what other kinds of weapons would people like to see Link use in games?"
Ooh.
Nah, I mean, this conversation going for decades. He does give a few examples, like a staff, a flail, or an axe, etc.
Yeah, I think we could see that in Zelda U. I mean, from the trailer, we see Link using a bow. It's nothing about a sword. So maybe they're putting less emphasis on the sword in Zelda U. I could see Link having a variety of different weapons.
And at the same time, though, we've also seen two different swords.
That's true. We have the sword in the more recent footage, I believe, is different than the one in the trailer.
It looks like a two-handed weapon to me.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely big.
Like bigger on sword big. Like that thing's huge.
Yeah, like Cloud Sword, huge.
Yeah. Well, not quite as unrealistic as Cloud Sword.
Yeah, not quite as unrealistic, but it's big.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool things. I always thought this would be cool just because it was one of my favorite things growing up. I love the Ninja Turtles. I love them a lot. And I always thought it would be cool when I played Zelda games if, like, all the weapons that the Ninja Turtles have, like, Link had the ability to use too. Even in terms of just stuff he has, like, he's used a sword before. Why can't he dual wield swords?
You'd imagine using nunchucks to take out Ganon.
Oh, that was so sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. And I remember when I first saw that there was that fan art of Link in A Link Between Worlds where he was like flying in the air, coming down, and I'm like, dude, is he using a nunchuck right now? Because that's all that came through my mind, because there was an old school Ninja Turtle game where Michelangelo would do that exact same thing, spinning his nunchuck to float down. And of course, nobody else in the world was thinking that but me.
There's another Ninja Turtles fan out there.
Oh, it's not nunchucks. It's just that little Little fan item. All right.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I think it'd be pretty cool if they like added certain items from other games, like Mario, for instance. If they had like instead of bomb shoes, you get like a red shell or a green shell, and you can
we
throw
did
it
get
around.
Mario Fireballs in Triforce Heroes.
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah, we did.
It even has the exact same sound.
The exact same sound effect. Yeah. It's like clearly you got this idea from Mario. Like not even gonna hide that, huh? All right. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different. I mean, every single game, you gotta remember, like every Zelda game adds new items and new weapons. So like, there's a lot that I would like to see return, but I mean, they're gonna add so many more new ones. I mean, the possibilities are really endless. And what's cool about the kind of game Zelda is they can add items that don't even exist, like you would never even think of. As an example, like a hook shot, like that doesn't exist in the real world.
Or the tornado rod.
Or the tornado rod, all that kind of stuff. Or the Dominion rod, all the different rods that do all that magic stuff. That stuff doesn't exist. So, like, really the possibilities are truly endless with this. Yeah, so. But as I said, personally, I want to see all the Ninja Turtle items come into play. Plus, I think it would be kind of a cool nod, like a little Easter egg, Hey, did you know that when you did the side quest and you got these items, like, did you see like the nod to the Ninja Turtles in there? Like April was the name of one of the characters or something.
That's kind of like in Majora's Mask when you collect all the masks, one row of masks. They're all very similar to the row of Star Fox characters. I don't know if anyone
and like
that.
And like that was it's weird too because like Eiji Aonuma didn't even notice it at the time, so like he had no clue, and to this day they still don't know what programmer did it.
Yeah, I actually when that interview came out, I believe I put that post on the site, and he said that he didn't do it, but he said someone on the staff
someone had to have done it. Like it's too
that's crazy.
It's way too obvious for someone not to have done it. But it's also weird that someone hasn't stepped in and be like, yeah, I was the one that did that. Maybe that's the fun of it. They like to keep that mystery going.
Yeah, that's crazy that nobody knew about it.
Like on their deathbed, they'll say that.
Yeah, on the tombstone.
I was the one that did the Star Fox Easter egg.
I created the order of the masks in the menu. All references belong to me. But yeah, so let's take this question and go one at a time. Let's say just one item you would like to see added to the game. Darren, let's start with you.
Oh man, I mean, I'd like to go with my original idea, the nunchucks. I mean, ever since I was small.
Did that idea come off of my Ninja Turtle idea?
Well, I mean, the nunchucks are amazing. I had toy nunchucks as a kid. I hurt myself a lot with them.
They were so... I mean, I'd smack myself in the head a bunch. I didn't care.
Oh, yeah.
They were so awesome.
They were amazing. And to use that in Zelda U, just, like, take out all, like, enemies left and right with those, that'd be so amazing.
Or, like, from, like, the Secret of the Ooze movie when he grabs the sausage links and does the same thing. Oh, that would be sweet.
So, yeah, nunchucks, definitely.
All right, cool. Rick, what would you like to see?
I'd like to see some form of a mace or something like that.
Okay.
It'd be pretty cool to see something more akin to an axe or a mace in the Zelda series.
Sure.
Yeah,
And that kind
cool.
of fits with the series anyways, so.
Can you imagine Link holding like a huge mace and like smacking someone across the face with it? That'd be amazing.
So one item I'd like to see is, and I think this would really fit well with Zelda Wii U, would be kind of like a spear. And you can use that, like there's already spears in the game. Like we have guards that walk around with them and stuff like that, but we don't really ever see them get used. And the closest I think we've had to using something similar to it was like in Wind Waker when you, like the enemies that beat you with sticks, like you can pick those sticks up and throw them. Mm-hmm. But that's still not really a spear. Like all the use you can do with the spear, like you could use it as a projectile, like as a shorter range kind of bow item, or you could try to hit people with it by throwing it, and it'd be like a single use. You throw it, you're done. You're not getting it back unless you go pick it up. And then, this game already, we have confirmed like you can eat fruit off trees and stuff like that. So imagine if you could go to rivers and you could fish spears. Go spearfish.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be.
Fishing's already in the series, so like, why not expand that? Like, if this world's really raw, is Link really walking around with a mechanical fishing rod on his back? Probably not. So like, being able to like pick up a spear, and even if you have to make it yourself, however they allow it to be made or exist in the world, I just think it'd be really cool. And then just all the different combat things you can do with it, because like I kind of got the idea because Amara Ray mentioned a staff, and like you could kind of use it as a staff too. So like there's just a lot of uses for a spear, and I think it would just add a totally different combat vibe and a lot of uses outside of just combat that I think would be really interesting and could really fit in the world. I'm not saying it should replace the sword, but it could be like one of those complementary items, that like a boomerang that you can use the entire game. Yeah, I don't know. I always kind of wonder why we haven't seen an item like that, since it's already like there's already spears in Zelda. So like I don't know why Link has never been able to use one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So there you go. There's 3 items we would like to see in the game. And obviously, we kind of agree with all your ideas. Plus, Ninja Turtles, baby, make it happen.
Ninja Turtles X Zelda.
Oh, that would be my. I would probably die the day that gets announced. And not like the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. Like I'm talking like old school. Ninja Turtles. Like if they could like mix A Link to the Past with Turtles in Time from the SNES, I would be in heaven.
Someone go make a fan game.
Yeah, right? 2 totally different style games. Make it happen. All right, so we'll move on to the next question. That was a good question. Joseph Mendez from our Facebook page says, I have one. Why isn't the new Zelda game coming out for the Wii U? Well, this is a very interesting remark.
Did you just ask
I don't want to have to buy
it?
another console just to play it. Will the new Hyrule Warrior game be downloaded automatically to anyone with a current copy of Hyrule Warriors for Wii U? Okay, so I'm assuming, based on how you ended this question, you're talking about Hyrule Warriors Legends, not Zelda Wii U, because Zelda Wii U has Wii U in its name. It hasn't been confirmed for any other system. So the fact that you ended it by talking about Hyrule Warriors Legends, I think you're talking about the 3DS game. So my initial reaction to that is we already have Hyrule Warriors on Wii U. So Hyrule Warriors Legends is the same game. The difference with it is they added like an exclusive story mode and one exclusive free play feature that is not available on Wii U.
They also added the My Fairy system and a new
the My Fairy
map.
system too. You're right. Yep. So like they added like these exclusive features, which obviously the key point in doing that is to make people who already own Hyrule Warriors to go buy Hyrule Warriors Legends. So yeah. Why it's not out on Wii U is because the game already exists on Wii U. Now, to your second point, which is, will all that stuff be able to be downloaded automatically to anyone with a current copy of Hyrule Warriors for Wii U? What we do know is that the characters are included in a download code that comes with a copy of Hyrule Warriors Legends. So you are not going to get it, like if you're thinking about it like some of the free DLC you got for Hyrule Warriors, that is not what it is. You have to buy a copy of Hyrule Warriors Legends to get those extra characters. And as far as I'm aware, none of the other content transfers. So none of the extra stages, the Linkle story doesn't, the My Fairy system doesn't transfer. So as far as I'm aware, that's it. You can just get the new playable characters. And you have to buy a copy of the 3DS game to do that. That's as far as I'm aware. I don't know. I mean, do you guys have anything to add? That's just what I know, anyways.
Yeah, that's basically everything. I mean, the game's already out in Japan. It's been confirmed that you get the characters using the download code. Everything Nate said is confirmed.
So thank you, Joseph Mendez, for that question about Hyrule Warriors Legends. Just to kind of recap it a bit, it's basically everything I said at the start. Hyrule Warriors Legends doesn't. It's 3DS exclusive and with exclusive content because they're trying to sell more copies of the game on that system. And only the characters transfer over, and you have to buy, as far as we know, you have to buy the game to get those characters because it comes on a download code. So yeah, to answer your questions, will the new Hyrule Warriors game be downloaded automatically to anyone with a current copy of Hyrule Warriors for Wii U? No,
Absolutely
so the game is not free. You are not going to be able to. You own Hyrule Warriors for Wii U. You're not going to get it free on the 3DS. So to answer you, it's not coming out for Wii U at all, and only the characters transfer over, and you're not going to get it for free on 3DS. It's not happening. You could disagree with that, but we're just answering your questions with facts. So. We'll on to our next one. We'll head back to Twitter. We're at Hylian Garo. Ooh, I actually got it right that time. Asked one more question, so our last question off Twitter. They said, would you like Nintendo to release a pronunciation guide for all the characters, enemies, and locations in Zelda?
Oh, definitely. I mean, for a long time, me and my friends, we all pronounce things differently, and with Hyrule Warriors, I was very interested to see how the narrator pronounced things, just so I could use that as like the official pronunciation.
I think a lot of people were.
Yeah, like I say Gerudo. Apparently, most people say Gerudo, and I did not know that.
Yeah.
Or I believe it's Hylian, and a lot of people say Hylian.
I said Hylian. Yep, I said Hylian for like a decade.
Yeah, I've always said Hylian.
Yeah. I definitely. I mean, I think if they released pronunciation guide for all the characters, enemies, and locations in Zelda, almost like an encyclopedia of sorts, I think just like Hyrule Story, it would become a bestseller.
Definitely.
Definitely.
People bought, Hyrule Story because they wanted it for the collections, because it had the timeline in it, and also because it just had a lot of cool information about the games. I think an official pronunciation guide it'd take a long time for them to put it together. But if they did, I think it would, especially for like the 30th anniversary, it would just be one of those items that every Zelda fan wants.
Yeah.
Sometimes just for their own curiosity too. Like Darren said, he was pronouncing Gerudo wrong, or maybe I have no idea. I don't know what the official pronunciation for it is. Maybe he's been doing it right. So it's one of those that I do know that it's not Hylian. By the way, it took me 10 years, but I figured it out. So yeah, I definitely think that would be something that, I almost think it's something Nintendo has to do eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to do it. I know personally it would make my videos a lot easier to make sometimes when I come across characters' names that I've never even heard of before, because it's been so long since I've played the games when I was a kid. So, I can't even think of a name right now, but there are those names out there.
I swear, if Tingle is not pronounced Tingle, I am leaving this franchise forever.
Yeah, it's like pronounced some weird way, like Tingle or Tingle or whatever.
God. It's not French. Apparently, its origins were French.
And another interesting thing about pronunciations, the Smash announcer for Smash 4, the way he says Ganondorf bugs me. He says like Ganondorf, and I'm like, what? It's Ganon. Not Ganon.
Maybe it is Ganon. I have no idea.
Well, maybe. That would suck because it...
That would suck. Well, I think everybody's been pronouncing it wrong forever.
Well, I think Ganondorf sounds much better.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, anyone who's like watched videos and watched podcasts or anything that I've been involved with where you hear my voice, I am the captain of mispronouncing everything. Like, I have all this knowledge of the series because I've been doing this kind of stuff for 18 years now.
Case in point, Aonomu.
Yeah, exactly. Aonomu. It doesn't matter how many times you guys correct me, I'm still gonna get it wrong. And it's not because I don't care, and it's not because I don't dedicate time to it, but I am not going to dedicate enough time to probably make sure it sinks in my head to get it right. Like, there'll be times I do some videos where I know I'm going to be mentioning, is it AG or EG? Which way does it go? I can't remember.
No idea.
Anyways, EG, Aonomu or whatever, and I will like go back to a comment where someone corrected me on it, and then I will like practice it like 10 times before that video to make sure I get it right, and then I'll still get it wrong in the video.
Yeah, it's very hard. Once you have a pronunciation in your head, to try and correct that, it is very difficult.
And like I said, it still happens with Hylian for me. One, because I have a hard time saying Hylian for some reason. And two, I mean, for a decade I was saying Hylian. So like, it's ingrained in me that that's not the right way to say it. Like, I'm fighting against what my brain's telling me to say. So I apologize that I mispronounce things. Pronunciations are not my forte. I do care about getting it right, but I do so much at the site that you're right. I'm not going to take 2 to 3 hours to sit down every single day going over various Zelda terms over and over and over again, saying them out loud until it sinks in. Because for those 2 and 3 hours, I probably have a whole bunch of other Zelda stuff I'm supposed to be doing and creating. And I think you guys would rather me worry about creating the content than basically giving myself a Zelda pronunciation class for the next 2 years. But it'd still be really cool just to have the book, because maybe, if I know I'm going to be using a lot of words in particular that I'm going to have a problem with, I could have that book like right in front of me and I can kind of glance at it as I'm going.
Hey, real
and then
talk,
maybe
though?
you guys will forgive me because, yes, I'm holding a book only because I'm going to mispronounce it. It's a reminder to pronounce it right.
Hey, real talk though, if Nintendo hosted a Zelda pronunciation class, I would enroll immediately.
Well, if they do any sort of Zelda classic. Oh, a Zelda lore class? Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, bro, I could be the professor.
So yeah, that would definitely, I think in general at Hylian Gyro, that's definitely something we want to happen. It's almost like a no-brainer, and I've never even thought about it until now. I definitely think that's an idea we might need to push on its own. Maybe a daily debate or something.
Change.org.
Yeah, change.org. Even though those almost never work. So we'll move on to the next question, because I know Darren is a little pressed on time. We might continue with a couple more after him if I see some good ones in here to get to
Right.
with just Rick and myself. But let me see if I can get one last good one in here for Darren. I'm just glancing because all the rest of our questions come from Facebook. This question is actually one that we've had lots of debates on before, but it might be good to have a small discussion on it again. Mostly just because of Nintendo's recent announcements on some extracurricular activities they're doing beyond video games. So Isaac Sudsbury asks, do you think Nintendo will make a Legend of Zelda movie or anime?
100% yes.
I mean,
Definitely agree.
you could argue they've already done that with the cartoon series.
Well, that's true.
But I assume they mean, new stuff.
You mean that Abomination?
Hey, well, you know what? I enjoy that Abomination. I'm one of those weird people that, I watch it, once a month, and I smile. I don't know if I'm smiling because it's just so bad it's good. Or if I just legit think it's good, and I'm just really into corny cartoons. I have no idea.
Well, if there was one franchise that deserved an anime, that would be Zelda. I mean, maybe you could say Pokemon, but Pokemon already has an anime. So
You could argue Fire Emblem, too.
Well, yeah, Fire Emblem. Plus, Nintendo announced this year that they will be trying to do movies and anime in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be kind of dumb not to do it about Zelda.
More relevant.
Because where did the Wall Street Journal get the idea that there's going to be a Netflix Zelda TV series? That didn't just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and the guy who reported it, I mean, he's a reputable guy.
Yeah.
His sources are legit. So chances are when the late Iwata refuted it, as I just said, I'm not good with pronunciations. When it was refuted by him, he didn't even fully shoot it down. He just kind of said the way it was described, that's just not what's happening. So it sounds like it could have been one of those things where someone at Netflix pitched the idea to Nintendo, and then kind of gave a preliminary idea for the series, and that might have been what we heard from the Wall Street Journal guy. And obviously Nintendo gets pitches for ideas all the time. We've seen a previous small little trailer of an idea for a Zelda cartoon that got pitched. The video, it got pitched apparently back in the early 2000s, but the video for it we got posted about 2 or 3 years ago. So you figure it's got to happen.
Yeah, it's gotta.
I mean, they did the Pikmin shorts on 3DS. And those were pretty good. I know that Mr. Miyamoto directed them and all that stuff.
Well, they've done Zelda shorts on the 3DS.
Yes, they have. But those shorts were more if you watch the Pikmin ones, you watch the Zelda one. The Pikmin ones were an actual show.
Well, yeah.
The Zelda ones were basically just gameplay. like doing silly things.
There was a Smash.
I wouldn't even call it a
short.
show. It was just some guy doing something really stupid in a Zelda game, and they recorded like a 30-second clip of it and said, "Haha, isn't this funny?" those little clips, like I was all excited thinking they were going to do like the Pikmin animation stuff, and when I saw it was just gameplay, I'm like, this is like what 10,000 YouTubers do.
Yeah.
I don't, and you're not really that funny. Like the Pikmin shorts were actually like real animations, and they had charm to it, and there was like overarching stories. It was almost like it reminded me a lot of Nintendo's really good at this too. When you transfer data from your Wii card to your Wii U, they have like this big long animation sequence of the data moving, so it's not like just a progress bar. It's like this huge long animation of like spaceships flying around and these little guys picking up data and running down all these ramps and stuff. Like it's really cool. So like Nintendo has the charm to do this kind of stuff. Now obviously a big thing with this is Nintendo did buy a studio. I think it was last year. It might have been the year before. They did buy out a movie studio in Japan. So they do own a studio that can make this content. So I mean, if you look at the IP that Nintendo owns, outside of creating new original movie ideas, if you just look at the IP they own, I mean, you figure the biggest IP they have is going to be the stuff that they do this with, because that's going to draw the most attention. So Mario's already had numerous attempts at TV. Probably not too hard pressed to try doing it again. And then Zelda. That's arguably, and Pokemon's already got their thing going. So like those are kind of like the big three franchises they have. You could argue Metroid and all this other stuff, but Zelda, Mario, and Pokemon are like their most popular franchises.
Oh, you mean Metroid, the one they haven't done anything for a while, and the recent game that they just revealed got shot down?
Yeah, well, Metroid's kind of weird. I think Metroid's following is more of a cult following, because this is totally off topic. Metroid games have never sold well. So, like, I know people always have like Metroid's like this big pillar for Nintendo. It's probably an afterthought. I'm actually surprised the series is even still around.
Yeah.
Outside of Metroid Prime sold like 4 million, and that's the top. Like 4 million is like the average sales for a bad Zelda game. So it's like it's not a top tier franchise for them. So like, a lot of fans care about it, and Nintendo's kept it going. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm honestly surprised that Star Fox wasn't lasting longer, more consistently, because Star Fox actually sold more copies than Metroid did.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was just about to say that.
It's really weird that like they chose to keep a franchise going that maybe it's just because the franchise was around since the NES. I have no idea, but I don't know. I mean, Metroid's not going to die. It's going to come back. They're going to do something with it, but I don't know. Just when you look at the movie franchise, you figure it's going to be Mario, because if it's Mario, you guarantee that's your most well-known IP besides Pokemon, so you guarantee people are going to watch it. You'll probably do some more Pikmin shorts to go along with Pikmin 4, and I would assume that they got to do something Zelda, whether it's with Netflix, which I think would be great, just because I don't know that Netflix has made a bad series yet.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen everything they've done, but everything they have done that's on Netflix is all rated like 4.5 stars or higher. So like the users that have watched it, think it's really good.
Yeah.
And like there's shows I watched like House of Cards. What was I just got done watching Making a Murder, which I know is like a documentary. And there's a couple other shows I was watching on there that were original to them, and even they have like this cartoon series that looks like it's trying to compete with Family Guy. It's pretty funny, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I watched it. Yeah, that's actually
F is for Family or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I was surprised how funny it was, because I totally looked at it like it did not look appealing at all. But I'm like, I'll watch one episode. No man, that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So. They just do such a great job. I would love to see Nintendo partner with them. I don't think Nintendo is ultimately going to, just because there's such a disconnect. Because Netflix is like this American company, and Nintendo's in Japan, and they like having so much control over how their IP goes out there, I feel like they might feel like they lose some of that control if it's done by an American studio.
Yeah, that's why I think Hyrule Warriors happened, because Koei Tecmo, I mean, it's in Japan.
Exactly.
If it was an American company, Hyrule Warriors would not exist by any stretch.
No. Well, and plus you got to remember that a lot of third parties don't work with Nintendo as is, so if one's going to, it's going to be in Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd see them working with Sony before anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Sony likes Nintendo, so if Sony feels like they can make some money off, a movie series involving Nintendo.
Didn't Sony say this year that they wanted to make a Nintendo movie, or at least help Nintendo do it?
Yeah, I think there was a tweet or something where they said they'd be willing. But to me, when you hear stuff like that, it tells me that there's been no conversation.
Yeah.
They're just kind of putting it out there so like the public puts pressure on Nintendo to call them. But like Nintendo owns its own, like I just said, Nintendo owns its own movie studio. So whatever they're doing, they're probably doing it themselves. Especially since I think the last time they trusted an outside studio, it was for the Super Mario Brothers movie.
You mean the one that everybody hates?
See, I don't hate that either. I thought
it was
awesome.
an okay movie.
I thought it was awesome, man.
I've
actually never goes against
not like
the
cult
game.
classic awesome. Like I legit loved that movie when I was a kid. I'm like, dude, I didn't know the Mario Brothers were such badasses, man. Man, this is so sweet. And that was back around the time when like the real Ninja Turtle movies were coming out. No, oh man,
the real Ninja Turtle movies, so butthurt.
That's what I call them. Like, well, because like they looked like things that you would actually see out in the real world. You know? Like you could touch them and they're real. Because, well, they were, and the costumes were made by Jim Henson, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
back to Ninja Turtles again.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to the Ninja Turtle Inquiries,
I can't
everybody.
help it, dude. So yeah, I mean, I think Nintendo has definitely considered a Zelda movie or an anime or a cartoon or a live action TV series like the Netflix rumor was. I definitely think they've considered all these possibilities because they're going to consider any possibility where they think they can make money. And if they're going to do a Zelda one, it makes sense to launch it during the 30th anniversary.
Definitely.
Just because it can kind of build on the hype of all these games are coming out, so you can have all these tie-ins and all these different ways to advertise it. Like, yeah, if you buy Zelda Wii U, it comes with the first episode on a separate disc for free, as an example. Just a way to get people to even give it a chance.
Yeah, 30th anniversary, it's going to be awesome. Especially if it has, the anime in it. Because you have Twilight Princess HD, Hyrule Warriors Legends, Zelda Wii U, you got the trading cards, whatever. And then an anime or a movie on top of that, that'd be killer.
And something I haven't considered, like I kept saying, Nintendo won't work with an American company to do this stuff. There was a recent rumor for the NX that it would support like 4K video streaming.
That was a survey, I thought.
Yeah. It was based on a survey. And like, I mean, it would be awesome to support a 4K video streaming. Yeah. There's not very many devices that do. And that's going to be all dependent on your internet anyways, if you're ever going to hit 4K. But it kind of reminded me that I think Nintendo kind of sees like the Netflix apps that they have on the Wii U and 3DS as kind of like a success. I think they track the usage of it, and they're seeing a lot of people use those apps a lot.
Yeah.
And I think if they were going to somehow work with an American company, Netflix actually almost makes sense, because you figure if they're going to continue to have video streaming, that platform has been working well for them. So,
like my uncle owns a Wii solely for the fact that he can use Netflix on it. Like he plays no games.
Yeah. That's pretty much why I own a PlayStation 3. I don't own any PlayStation 3 games. It's just to watch Blu-ray videos once in a while, and then my kids watch Netflix on it.
Sweet.
Yeah. That's what my PS4 is used for.
Like it would be a Wii if it had HD, but that's just me in my mind. If I'm going to end up watching Netflix on it, I want it in HD.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I know I just said they couldn't do the Netflix thing, but maybe Nintendo of America's like, dude, like, if we're going to do something that we want to be popular in the United States, why wouldn't we team with Netflix? Who's going to have a guaranteed audience already? In addition to the audience we have, and then they could argue that we already have a Netflix audience on our platforms as is. So yeah, I don't know. I hope they do it. I just hope they give it a try. If it flops, that's great. I can come up with all my ideas. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't want to ever see this happen. That's fine. Don't watch it. It's probably going to have absolutely zero effect on the video games. The cartoon series had no effect on the video games. The Super Mario Brothers movie and TV show, the Super Show and all that stuff, none of that had any effect on the video games. I don't know why you'd suddenly worry that now it's going to have effect on the video games.
Yeah, you just ignore that if you don't like it.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think what people worry about more so is lore. Like, it's going to add this new lore. That's why they need to watch it. You don't have to watch it. Right?
I guarantee it won't be canon. I guarantee it.
Yeah, like most the comics aren't canon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Halo or anything where they can make a movie and, I'm not. Now I'm speaking as, I'm not knowledgeable on both of those series. I've watched both the movies that they've come out with, but I kind of feel like they did go that route with those movies. Microsoft helped make them and all that stuff. So Zelda's just not like that. They can go any direction with it. I wouldn't care.
Yeah. So like basically, if you're not into it, just don't watch it. If you are into it, great, watch it. Sorry, you can't. If you're not into it, you can't really do much. The fact that like if it is popular, there's going to be merchandise built around it. You're going to see out at Hot Topic and stuff. And yeah, you'll probably see some videos on YouTube that have like the voice of Link that you hate or something. If there even is a voice for Link, it's kind of all up in the air. But I think it would be really cool. Nintendo is doing something. We know this. Yeah. We just don't know if it's for Zelda. So I'm with you. When you ask like do you think Nintendo will make one? I think they. Like, I don't know. I almost want to say it's a 50-50 chance, but if you just want a straight yes or no, I'm going with a yes. They're going to do it.
Yeah, I'll go with that too.
Yeah, same here.
Look at that conformity. we're
like if they don't.
It's supposed to be like a discussion, debate. Like we just keep agreeing on everything.
I don't know. Skyward Sword's motion controls suck.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a nice debate on that. Maybe Rick and me will have to get together sometime and have a huge debate over the Skyward Sword motion controls. Because I actually did a Boss Man thing on it. It would be actually cool to revisit that topic and have a opposing viewpoint. Which I'm sure there's plenty of people on staff that have an opposing viewpoint as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Darren, you have time for one more? Or you gotta head out.
I gotta head out.
All right. Cool. Well, at this point, Darren is dipping out. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go on and do probably 2 or 3 more questions here with just me and Rick. And Darren, you want to sign out here?
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, cool.
See you later.
Thanks for joining us for the first episode of 2016, Darren.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I look forward to joining you guys more.
Awesome.
All right. See you later.
Yep. See you, Darren. All right. So the next person, this is Paul Bogle. Boogle. I'm really, like I said, I'm not good at pronunciations. Can you remake the... Okay, first off, I can already tell you we can't remake anything. However, I will go on with your question. Can you remake the Super Nintendo version of Zelda for the Xbox 360? Well, we can't remake anything.
Yeah, no.
Like at least I wouldn't. Like, even though I'm going to school to like be a game programmer, like I might have the ability to do it. I wouldn't, because like I also am editor-in-chief at Zelda Informer, and I don't want to mess with Nintendo copyright personally. I know there's a lot of fans that do mess with the copyright, and some get away with it, some get shut down. I would hate to have any ill effect that could look bad on Zelda Informer from us actually doing something. Like, we talk about fan projects, but that's fan projects. That's not us doing it. So I would personally not do it. As for Nintendo, if you think we're Nintendo for some reason, you'd be surprised how many people think we're Nintendo. It's okay. We are not associated with Nintendo at all, outside of the fact that we do have some press contacts with them. We get review copies of games and interviews, but like they don't actually control any of our messaging. They don't tell us what to do. They have never threatened to not give us stuff for talking negative about their stuff. So yeah, we are not Nintendo. But if I think that Nintendo would do it, I definitely not. For starters, the Xbox 360 is, even if Nintendo was to go third party someday, The Xbox 360 is a last generation console, so I don't think they'd do anything for that system.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. And like we were talking about earlier, like it's not likely that Nintendo would do something with an American company like Microsoft either.
Mm-hmm. And like
I would see them going with Sony first.
Yeah, and you know, I could see them doing stuff like in America because like Zelda is really popular in America compared to the rest of the world. But like if they're going to do that, PlayStation 4 is actually more popular than the Xbox One.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, granted, the Xbox One is only popular in the United States, but it's the Xbox 360 is definitely out of the question. I mean, that by the time Nintendo would even consider creating a game for another platform besides a phone and their own stuff, the Xbox 360 will probably be 2 or 3 generations back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry if you're really waiting for Nintendo to do that. Not going to happen. You might find a fan hack somewhere that does it. And when you say Super Nintendo version, I'm assuming you mean A Link to the Past. You'll probably find there might be a fan hack out there, like just like there's emulators and hacks that exist for mobile devices right now and tablets that you can play A Link to the Past on. I'm not going to tell you how to get them. I'll just tell you they exist. I've seen them in action, but they're never going to do it for Xbox 360. Your only hope would probably be an official release for the iOS store and Android.
Yeah.
And even then, Nintendo doesn't sound like they're too keen on doing that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're more interested in making new games than releasing their old games on the phones. So, yeah. Sorry, man. I understand your pain. There's a lot of people that wish Nintendo would release their even their back catalog on other systems, but it's just not going to happen, especially not for an older generation system. So we'll move on to the next one. That was a short and sweet. This one's from Alex Angulo. Maybe I'll just stop pronouncing last names. No, I gotta do it, or you won't know if I'm addressing your question or not. I'm assuming, I'm not sure if the boy or girl, so I'm going to say they instead of he or her. Asked, do you think there's going to be Princess Zelda in the new Zelda game?
That's kind of tough because they already.
Question too.
Yeah, I mean,
she's not. To be clear, for those that are like, oh man, of course she's going to be in that. What a dumb question. Princess Zelda is not in every single Zelda game.
Yeah.
So let's just get that over. Now, she's not actually required to be present for it to be a Zelda game. So now, knowing that, will she be in the game?
From my standpoint, they already said that Ganondorf's not going to be, the main baddie in this game. So if Ganondorf's not going to be in it, I don't see it unlikely for Zelda to not be in it. But I mean, if it is placed in Hyrule, then
like that's kind of my caveat. Like, if this is Hyrule, she's in it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a game in Hyrule where she hasn't been present.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the games that didn't have her, like Link's Awakening, took place in a world that, spoiler warning, didn't exist. Mm-hmm. And then, end spoiler warning on that. And then, obviously, in Majora's Mask, she was just there in a flashback. She wasn't really in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what other games she wasn't in. Four Swords? I don't think she was in Four Swords or Four Swords Adventures.
Was it? No.
I
think she's in Adventures. I don't know if she's in Four Swords though.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. She's obviously not in Triforce Heroes. But again, these are like games that didn't really take place in Hyrule, so it's like, if it's in Hyrule, she's going to be in it. So the bigger question you should be asking is, does this game take place in Hyrule? I'm trying to remember if there has actually been an official statement that this is Hyrule. Just like, people want to know if it's Epona. Like, there hasn't actually been an official statement from the actual developers that it's Epona.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if it's been that same way or if they've actually said Hyrule.
I'm not too sure either.
Like, they've only talked about the game really twice, and they've shown it 3 times. Mm-hmm. And all of it was really short stuff. So it's like...
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one.
If they confirmed it's Hyrule. But,
I mean, the landscape, based off that, it looks like Hyrule.
It looks like something that would be Hyrule. I don't know. If I had to put money on it, I'd say she's probably going to be in it. Whether or not she's a princess, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. But Zelda herself is probably going to be in the game because, if you're going to put money down, especially on it, like they've she's been in most of the games. So, there's a really high likelihood she's going to be in the game. Ganondorf would be the bigger question because he's only been in like 8 or 9 games, and there's 18 of them. So, he's like a 50-50 shot to get into any game, whether it's in Hyrule or not in Hyrule. So I'm pretty sure she'll be in the game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree on that one.
If you extend it to Ganondorf, that's a big. I have no idea. Yeah, cool. Okay, well, these are going kind of quick. I guess we'll just keep going here. Zach Wetter, he kind of asked a question. What does Zelda, for us, have in store in the future? So here's what I can tell you about 2016. This is just what we know. There's going to be a lot of stuff we don't know. So Zelda game-wise, we have Hyrule Legends and Twilight Princess HD coming out in March. I think Twilight Princess is like March 3rd or March 4th. Can't remember. It's early in March, and Hyrule Legends is late in March. And then we have Zelda U, as far as we're aware. They put up that 2016 date in the last footage. That's coming out this year. Probably my best guess is November. So in terms of the immediate future, those are the games we're going to get to play. Now for the rest of the outlying franchise, like what are they doing for 30th anniversary? Symphony of the Goddesses is back this year, which you could argue isn't necessarily related to the 30th anniversary because we had it last year, and like the 25th anniversary ran for like 3 years. So I don't know if you want to consider that a special thing for the 30th anniversary anymore, but that's happening. There's going to be a Zelda trading card game coming out. I don't know if it's going to release in the United States this year, but it is going to be releasing at least in Japan.
I hope it does.
Yeah, I'm hoping it comes to. I think that would just, and again, another thing I think a lot of people would eat up, just like the pronunciation guide.
Definitely.
So, and I'm trying to think if there was anything. I mean, we're assuredly going to get some new official merchandise. There'll probably be some more Dark Horse figures at GameStop. But, we just recently got like Yahtzee and Monopoly and puzzles. I'm assuming you could see more expansion on that front. But that's pretty much all we know. There's probably bound to be a lot of other things we don't know. I think it would be cool if they finally took the Symphony of the Goddess concerts, combined all the music they've done, did a professional recording, and released a freaking album for it.
Oh, that'd be
don't know
amazing.
Why they haven't done it yet. I don't know why they don't even sell it at an album of the show at the shows. It's such it blows my mind. Like, what are they worried about? Yeah, it's gonna leak. People are gonna get. Guess what? So does all the music in your games.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's not gonna stop it. Like Zelda fans are still gonna eat it up. They're still gonna want to own it. If anything, just for collector's value alone.
Well, it kills me when they don't take advantage of things they can make money off of when, we want them as fans.
Yeah, it is so simple. Like, you can't tell me that they don't practice in studios. So, they could easily just have one professional recording. And CDs are cheap. The cases, that's all cheap stuff. So, all they gotta do is do it once, and it frustrates me. So, it would be really cool. I think I hope that's something they're considering doing. Even if they only sell it at the shows, at least then there's an opportunity for people to buy it. It would be nice too if they put it up like on iTunes or something.
Oh, that would be
if they don't want to actually do a full retail release, and you could argue they could also include it with special edition of Zelda U or something. And one thing I really want to see them do this year, and this is from a merchandising perspective. This isn't about the future of the franchise. I can get into that in a little bit. For just the future of the merchandising this year, I would like to see them really do proper special edition bundles.
Oh my gosh!
What I mean to say is, in the past we've gotten things like the Wind Waker HD. In some locations had the Ganondorf statue, and stuff like that. But look at what Hyrule Warriors Legends has in Japan. You get the compass and the golden ocarina and a little Navi plushie or whatever. You get all these neat little things packaged in with a special edition of the game, and you just go pre-order it and you can get it. And you can only get that in Japan. I would like to see them, especially because it's the 30th anniversary of Zelda. Let's have a special edition of Zelda U that's not just a bundle with Amiibo like Twilight Princess HD is. Like,
Yeah.
that's great, but you can't tell me that Wolf Link's not eventually going to be able to purchase outside of that. So is it really that special that I'm saving $3? Like, give us something that you're only going to be able to get with that bundle, period. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Almost
even Mario
like the
Maker
Majora's
gave you
Mask.
like Mario Maker gave you an art book, which was kind of cool. But like it would be, you know, give us like the pronunciation guide that you can make it so you can only get it, you know, with Zelda U for a special edition. I just really want to see them like realize how much value there is in this merchandising and not do things like they did with Majora's Mask 3D. I liked what they did with the I actually got it back here. I'll show it on camera. The Skull Kid statue. This was from the special edition of Majora's Mask 3D. There really isn't a lot of people that have this because it was those editions sold out so fast. I was fortunate enough to get one.
Yeah, you're lucky, man.
I was very. I mean, they were out within seconds, so like I was very lucky. But I don't know where it is right now. I do have the special edition Majora's Mask pin. What I hated about that is I had to. I mean, I planned to get Codename Steam anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. But like, it was a weird pre-order bonus to come with a game that's not Zelda related.
Yeah.
Like that was confusing to me, and it felt like it should have been something that was included with the special edition of Majora's Mask. And so it's kind of like, I really just want to see them, this is what our special edition bundle is going to be, and it's going to be the exact same bundle with 3 or 4 items packed in. We're selling it for $100, and we're doing the same thing worldwide. It's not Europe gets these special editions and gets an extra t-shirt, and the United States gets this and gets extra. Like, no, everywhere make it the same.
Yeah.
Like, unify it, put actual substantial things in it. Like, I remember back when, in 2011, when Ocarina of Time 3D came out, I got a review copy of the game, and with it, Nintendo sent me an Ocarina.
That's legit.
Yeah, I don't even know where that. The funny thing is, I have no idea where that thing is right now. I really need to find it because like that's like the rarest of rare. A media exclusive thing like that. I know it was that in a T-shirt. I'm trying to. It's not broken, guys. It's packed away in a box when I moved, and I just don't know where that box is right now. But like. I kept thinking, why was this just a media thing? Like, why wasn't this in a special edition of the game? Because like a ceramic, like it was a ceramic. It wasn't plastic. It was a ceramic ocarina. Like
one of the legit ones that they'd sell on the back of the old Game Informer magazines and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Like it wasn't like like if people think of like the STL ocarinas or I'm trying to remember. There's another really popular ocarina online shop. Like those are really really high quality ceramic ocarinas. It wasn't as big as those. Like those ones are like if you're looking at my camera, I got like this big, this little Link plush. You know, those ocarinas are almost the size of this Link plush. The mini one. So I find something to compare it to here. The mini one was more like this Ganondorf amiibo size. So like if you kind of look at it, it's about half the size of what those big ones are, but it worked. The weird thing is that it was actually in tone. Like the notes weren't like all muddled, like they were actually all, I can't remember what key it was in, but like all the notes were correct. So like it was really cool, and I kept thinking at the time, like, why isn't this like in a special edition that everyone can get? And then I totally set it to the side and forgot about it when I really should have realized at the time this is a pretty big collector's item. I probably I'm going to be one of the few people in the world that could say I have this in my collection. And now I don't know where it is, but that makes me really mad. Now if I find it, I'm going to have to buy a special case and wrap in a bubble wrap or something. I have no idea. Air seal it in there, suck all the oxygen out so it doesn't decay or anything. But no, it's so that's just something I would like to see happen. I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking for merchandise purposes?
I would like to see sort of like a limited edition, but also with like if they're going to do a console edition, saying if maybe NX comes out with Wii U or anything like that, with Zelda Wii U, if they do a special console release, but with the bundle on the limited edition copy of the game. Because I don't want to have to go out and pre-order the limited edition copy and then also get the console edition if I want the console edition too.
Yeah. And to that point, since you brought up the console edition, Nintendo, it is time. You do such an awesome job customizing 3DSs like nothing, and having all these special edition ones. It is time take that Wii U, take that NX, do themed consoles.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 30th anniversary of Zelda. If an NX console comes out this year that's going to have an NX version of the Zelda game, not just, backwards compatibility, like an actual full NX version of the game, you need to release a themed console around that.
Definitely.
And the thing is, like, Halo does it. Call of Duty does it. Star Wars did it. Like, I understand that these franchises might have a little bit more backing behind them, but come on, you're Nintendo. This is your hardware. Yeah. It's not going to cost you as much money as it's going to cost a third party to get their game, featured on the console. Like, people sell decals. I mean, even this. Let's say, if you really want to cheap out, just include exclusive decals that we could put on. I mean, that's the cheapest way to do it, and I would prefer you didn't do that. I don't have my gamepad on me right now. Like, it was really cool what you did with the Wind Waker gamepad when you had, all the Hylian writing around it and all the symbols and the Triforces. Like, that was really cool, but, like, that was it. Like, the console, and I understand with the Wii U, you're emphasizing the gamepad. You got the console in the background. Guess what? You could still see my console in my entertainment system. So, like, it would be sweet if I looked over and look at that. It's Zelda themed. And I know I could do that myself with stickers, but, like, that's me going out of my comfort zone with wanting to put on fan created stickers. Because, then I worry about if I ever peel them off, are they going to come off? But if it's official stuff, then I don't care. That doesn't ruin the value of the console.
Yeah.
So, Nintendo, man, like, seriously, look, I have, right here, I have the a new Nintendo 3DS. I bought the Animal Crossing one. I imported, see these Zelda faceplates? Maybe do faceplates for the NX. So people can just buy faceplates. Like you have all these good ideas that you do with your portable systems. I don't know why you don't do them with your home consoles. It's like you think people don't care. You know how many Wii U's I would own right now if you did a themed Wii U, like a fully themed one for every Zelda game? Okay, I would have owned my launched one. I would have owned the Wind Waker one, which I do own. If you did one for Twilight Princess, I'd own that one. If you did one for Zelda Wii U, I'd own that one. That'd be four systems you'd get from me right there. That's crazy because I'm crazy. But like I would just have to have it. Like it's just it's a collector thing, and it's funny. Like it's weird because I say 4 systems. Like I know there's been 1, 2, 3 different themed 3DSs. Mm-hmm. There was the Ocarina of Time one, the Majora's Mask one, and then the Hyrule edition. Oh, and a Link Between Worlds. Link Between Worlds too. So there was four different ones. At some point in my career with the 3DS, I have owned each of those systems, save the Hyrule edition. And now I own the one with the faceplates, and I never plan to buy a custom one again because I'm tired of wasting my money. And I keep having to sell my old ones, and I keep getting mad because they're really hard to get back. But the point is, Nintendo, is that you still got my money. I bought those consoles brand new. So you still got my money for releasing those. So, like, why would you want to make more money?
I feel like they need to take a look back at the Nintendo 64 and look at how many different custom N64s they had. I mean, they had... didn't they have a lot back then? I'm pretty sure I just had the traditional N64 the whole time, so I didn't even pay attention. They had, like... You know how they had the Game Boy colors that were clear and stuff like that. They had a ton of N64s that were like that. The controllers were like that.
Yeah, I remember, wasn't there like a purple clear one?
Yeah.
I remember one of my friends had that one. Yeah,
and those are super rare nowadays too. Like I'm pretty sure a couple of the different colors are like worth $400 or $500 for an N64. But they had a Pokemon edition. N64 that was all Pokemon themed with Pikachu all over it. Yep. I don't know if they did any more other than that, but it seems like they haven't gone that route since then, because when I bought my my Wii's that were custom themed for Mario, they didn't have anything to do with Mario on it. It was either red or black or something along those lines. And it was just like, come on, this is kind of lame. I get the game and the Wii's red. Yeah, cool. It's just, I don't know. It would just be really cool, if they finally, like, you guys do, like I'm just holding up this 3DS. You guys do such a good job with your handhelds, and you've proven the reason you keep doing it is because people keep buying them. They keep buying these custom themed 3DSs even when they already own 3DSs.
because they want them. They desire them. They like showing off that they're a fan of that game. So like, why is it just because like the home console you don't carry it with you? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. And even then, people like showing that stuff off in their house. So
yeah.
Like Nintendo, if there's one thing I want you to learn with the NX, because you're not going to change your policies with Wii U. I can dream for a Zelda-themed Wii U all my life. Most of it will get as a gamepad thing. Like, you're not going to actually touch the console. If there's one thing I want you to learn for the NX, and this is just advice, people care about what the actual box looks like, and they will proudly display it in their entertainment system in a prominent spot and make it one of the centers of their entertainment system if it looks good. And part of it looking good is not just having a nice sleek design like, say, the PlayStation 4. It's also when you have the custom designs, it's a custom design they want to display. I can't tell you how many people I know have their PlayStation 4 underneath their TV and all their other systems in their entertainment box behind doors. Because they want it. They proudly display it. They want people to know, hey, I own a PlayStation 4. People don't do that with the Wii U. Now, granted, the gamepad's obviously propped up somewhere charging, but that's just almost a fault of your controller shouldn't ever really be the center point of your entertainment system. Like, that's your method of input. Like, the thing that's actually giving you what you're seeing on TV is usually your center of entertainment. But I don't know. That's just my advice for NX. Like, don't do like you did with the Wii U and throw the console in the background and just pretend it's not real. Plus, it just created consumer confusion. But so to get, I'll just take this one step further because I don't know, if you're, this question is so broad. I don't know if you're really talking about merchandising, and we talked about it a lot. So we kind of talk about the future of the franchise a little bit. Obviously, we could speculate all day about Zelda Wii U. You have speculated about Zelda Wii U a lot. I've definitely done it. So it's. I'm going to kind of leave the speculation of Zelda Wii U out of this because we know it's coming, and we're going to have so much stuff to talk about this year with that game. I'm going to kind of leave it alone. I'm more so worried about the future of the franchise after this year. And I'm really curious how Nintendo report. Obviously, a lot of it's around the NX. But if you kind of look at how they've been doing games like the last decade, I am worried that when we get Zelda Wii U, like, we're not going to see a console game again for, 5-6 years?
Yeah, I'm a little worried for that too.
And there's a lot of fans out there that they love those console games way more than the handheld. So it's like, it's weird because Eiji Aonumu stated after Skyward Sword came out that he wanted to shorten up the development cycle for the console games. He wanted to try to get them out every 3 years, which that's not that bad. Like, say NX comes out this year, comes out next year. That's only 2 or 3 years into the system. That's okay. That's acceptable to me. But like if it's like now, the Wii U came out in 2012. It's 2016. This is 4 years in.
Yeah.
That's pretty late in the cycle to be releasing such a big game. And if it stays on that cycle, it's always going to be a late cycle game now. That's, unless they decide to delay one for the launch of a console, which they might be doing with Zelda Wii U. Even then, people still won't consider that the exclusive NX game. So the exclusive NX Zelda still wouldn't come out for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would love to see them. Maybe this is just an issue they've had with the various hardware iterations, because there's just been a lot of differences between them. That I'm hoping maybe with the NX that the hardware is in such a way where the development is easy for them to transition to. And also, just a tip from me to Nintendo, I love Majora's Mask. I like, A Link Between Worlds. These games that you do that are like almost direct sequels. I mean, A Link Between Worlds isn't a direct sequel, but you kind of get my idea. Like, it's in the same world kind of thing. When you have the Zelda Wii U engine done, you have the game done. When you release the game, in like 2 years you could turn around and use that same engine and make another Zelda game, right? Like, this isn't an idea you have to throw away.
Definitely.
Because I know you guys like reinventing the wheel with every console game, but like I would like the future to be where you get at least out of every engine they make for the game, because they seem to remake the engine for every console game. I like to see them just do 2 games. So like you could have a team working on a new engine for the next game, and meanwhile you have a smaller team like they did with Majora's Mask, creating a new game using the same assets or whatever. So then we get Zelda Wii U, and then 2 years into NX, boom, we have an X game. And if the next true game doesn't come out till 4 or 5 years after that, or whatever, like the way that you can kind of do it in a way where you can hit that 3-year mark that I think he's aiming for. It would be 3-year mark would be a sequel, new game, sequel, new game. It would just go every other. That's what I would like to see the future do for home console. Handheld, I think with handheld, I would just like to see them really decide what they want the future to be on handheld. It seems to almost be like they don't know if they should do 3D games on handheld or if they should do top-down games. They're kind of in this limbo where they're not sure where to go with it. So one, I want them to pick a direction. So if they're going to do 3D games, then do 3D games. If you're going to do top-down games, do top-down. You want to do side-scrolling, you want to revisit Zelda 2, like do side-scrolling. Like pick a style and like stick with it for more than one game. Just a presentation style. Then on top of that, I would just like to see you guys kind of return to, or see the Zelda series on handheld at least, return to some more original ideas. If you look at the last one, like Triforce Heroes, is a pretty original idea. However, its presentation and its gameplay are basically directly taken from A Link Between Worlds. And A Link Between Worlds, that stuff was basically directly taken from A Link to the Past. And those are the last 2 handheld games we got. And what was before that? What was it? Was it Spirit Tracks before that?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was like a almost 4-year gap there from Spirit Tracks. And Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks kind of built off like the Wind Waker. It would be really nice if we returned to the days of Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages, The Minish Cap, Link's Awakening. Like these handheld games, they stood on their own and they were their own ideas. They weren't borrowing from home console games. They weren't borrowing off old ideas. They were like their own experiences. So no matter what you decide, if you go top down, if you go 3D, 2.5D, whatever you feel like doing with the visual presentation and the gameplay presentation, just I want these games to actually feel like they're full Zelda games. I hate saying it. A Link Between Worlds is a full Zelda game, but like it's not an original idea Zelda game. I want originality to kind of return to the 2D games. We get it with the 3D games. Skyward Sword is nothing like Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword are nothing like The Wind Waker. And those 3 games are going to be nothing like Zelda Wii U. Obviously the base gameplay and core mechanics, but in general, like their presentation, their approach to their gameplay, everything's different.
Yeah.
And so they do a great job with it. Like I want to see that happen on handheld. That's how it used to be on handheld. So like Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, like that was a really unique idea, even though they never finished the 3rd game. And then the Minish Cap was nothing like those games. And it was made by the same company, Capcom. So it's like, that's what I want to see in the future. Like, I just want to see them return to not treating the handheld games as less important, I guess. Because I don't think you'd, outside of like a direct sequel, I don't think you'd ever see Nintendo treat their home consoles, all the games, like they do their handheld games. And the thing is, I'm not saying that you're wrong. If you really love Triforce Heroes, like I enjoy Triforce Heroes. A lot of people don't, but I do. If you really like A Link Between Worlds, you really like Phantom Hourglass, like you're not wrong for liking those games. They just seem lazy in comparison to what they used to do with handheld games, where they actually stood on their own. Like when you think of Phantom Hourglass, you still connected to the Wind Waker. When you think of A Link Between Worlds, you still connected to A Link to the Past. Like. And that's just looking at the game. You don't even have to play it. You can just look at it and get that vibe. So it's like, you look at Oracle of Ages, that's Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons. You don't think of any other Zelda game. Same with the Minish Cap. Same with Link's Awakening. Like it's, they need to go back to, I think, to original ideas. And that might even get back to what they used to do back in the day is they had separate teams. They had their handheld team and they had their home console team.
Yeah.
And I believe those teams have basically combined in the last decade. And that's really why you've probably seen a lot of what you see now.
Yeah, and as they've shown in the past and talked about in the past, like, certain games borrow different aspects from one another. So,
yeah,
it's all just kind of starting to get stale because they keep throwing in all the same, different little tweaks here and there.
Mm-hmm.
It really, I do agree with you. It does need to go back to that, because I remember, getting Link's Awakening and putting it in and feeling like I was experiencing something brand new for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I played A Link Between Worlds last year or the year before that?
Yeah, 2013 it came out.
Oh, okay, yeah, 2013. Wow,
yeah,
I'm real
3
off.
years ago.
Well, I played it, last year,
okay,
I think.
okay.
So it didn't feel like a new Zelda game to me because I'd already played A Link to the Past.
Yeah,
and
beaten
that game.
Like A Link Between Worlds, it's a really good game. I'm not saying like it doesn't have original ideas. I mean, it's got the wall merging, the item rentals. Like there's some cool Ravio. Like they have some really cool concepts, but it's still, it's not even that it's in the same Hyrule. It's just the game feels like another game.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you could look at it as there's nothing wrong with like a Zelda game feeling like a Zelda game. I mean, come on, they're Zelda games. But I think, like for those of you out there that haven't played all the different handheld games, do yourself a favor and like play Oracle of Ages or Link's Awakening or a Minish Cap, and then go and play the Wind Waker and then play Phantom Hourglass right after. Yeah. And you tell me, if you could tell the big differences between what they're doing in Phantom Hourglass and what they were doing in those other games, or like A Link Between Worlds, like play A Link to the Past and play A Link Between Worlds. And then go play, Oracle of Ages or something. Just trying to think of the handheld games they have, or Link's Awakening DX or whatever. You're going to see a stark contrast to like those games. The reason that I say like go play A Link to the Past, then go play A Link Between Worlds. There's nothing I could say to precursor to go play Link's Awakening, then go play Link's Awakening DX. Like there's no precursor. There's no setup. Those games stand on their own. A Link Between Worlds, while it's a totally different Link, different situations in the same world, the way they did the visuals and everything about it, and the way they basically copied enemies and dungeons, like it feels like it's the same game. Even though it's not. Like, I love A Link Between Worlds. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best Zelda games for handheld they have made in years. And the reason is because it's a top-down game, and they haven't done that since like 2004 or something.
Yeah, normal controls too.
Yeah, that too. But it felt like a traditional Zelda game, like we haven't had in a long time, in terms of top-down games. So that's probably why I loved it so much. But at the same time, like, it does feel like a different game. Like, it feels you're getting feelings, and like nostalgia is fine. Like, it's huge, it's great, it's okay to build off it. I don't have a problem with A Link Between Worlds existing. My problem is that you got the Phantom Hourglass, the Spirit Tracks, the A Link Between Worlds, Triforce Heroes, but you don't have the intermingle of a game that stands on its own. And that's what bugs me about like what they've done with the handheld games.
Especially in the other timelines too, if you take it to a lore perspective, like all of the ones that actually stand out as handhelds are on the Downfall timeline, whereas Wind Waker gets the two games that are based
outside of the Minish Cap.
Minish Cap, and outside of the Minish Cap, which is unified, but it's like, come on, I really want them after this year to kind of take a step back from the lore of the franchise and kind of look at it a little bit and realize what they put together. And because when they did the Triforce Heroes thing and one person said, oh, it's not canon, the other person said, oh, yes, it is canon, we put it here in the Downfall timeline, I almost 100% expected them to do that.
Right.
But when you look at the game, it's like there's no lore about it. There's literally nothing, nothing there, and they're not paying attention to that aspect of it, which, the franchise didn't build off that. But if you're going to release a book on it, kind of try to back it up yourself. I want to see that happen.
Yeah,
if they're going to do it.
Yeah, like it would be nice in the future of Zelda, like if they, even if it doesn't even start with Zelda Wii U, say, because, whatever, for some reason they just decided not to start with that. Just like the future games, like it would just be nice if it tied the lore together better in a way. And if it doesn't, let's say that they don't want to be tied down by lore, then do something. Either decide you want to reboot the series, which would upset a lot of people. But just reboot the lore. I mean, it's not like you're pretending the other games don't exist. But reboot the timeline as an example and start fresh if you want to do that. Or, you had no problem creating that downfall timeline. Well, based on that downfall timeline's reason to exist, you can create an infinite amount of timelines. So, like, create a new branching timeline that isn't tied down. Even off of Skyward Sword or something. Like, just build a new branching timeline, and then you gain that freedom back. But whatever you do with the future games, like, make sure that stuff ties together. If you want it to be tying together, I don't know what they want to do, but if they're going to bother to have it tie together, like, do it right. Like, pay attention to what you've done. Like, if you're going to slap, like, A Link Between Worlds in the timeline, 50, 100 years, whatever, after A Link to the Past, like, make sure everything kind of fits. Not just the world, like, make sure your story fits. The history of the characters fits. Like, there's a lot of, like, where did these characters randomly come from that weren't around 100 years ago? I know a lot changes in 100 years, but if you think about 100 years isn't that long.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not like, in 100 years, suddenly 18 new sages are made. Like, where did all this stuff come from? So it's just been better if they explained it a bit more. And the nice thing is Nintendo, I know you're not really heavy on the storytelling in Zelda, which is kind of part of its charm because you guys focus on gameplay. You don't have to include this in the main story. You can have side quests that do it. You could just have books in a library that explain it, that give you the history. There's a lot of games that do it that way, where you don't really get a lot out of the main story. But if you explore, which is, hello, exploration, Zelda, you could be rewarded with those story tidbits.
Similar to how the manuals used to do.
Yeah, like the manual is basically used to be exactly what we're asking for.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
An exact history that details everything and ties it together. Like, that makes sense. And if you don't want to do that within the main story because you want to focus just on what's going on inside of that particular game, that's fine. But there's so many ways that you can, especially reward exploration, to do that. So I don't know. I agree with you that it would be really good to tie the lore together.
Yeah, I just either want them to go in one direction or the other. Either don't tie it together or tie it together.
Yeah. Like, if you're not going to tie it together, just kind of admit that you just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, don't pretend that you care and then don't do a good job of caring. If that makes sense. Like, and I'll give you an excuse up to the point of Hyrule Historia, because nobody knows how much you guys really cared about the timeline until that came out. But now that you put an official document out there, if you're going to keep trying to live by that document, which they have, like they put Triforce Heroes in there. If you're going to try to live by that document, then do it right. Tie up these loose ends. I know you're not going to be able to tie all. It's not like you can release one game and it takes care of everything. But when you release that game, make sure it makes sense in the chronology, that it fits, that the prior events that led to it actually logically have a logical progression to it. In a way, you did that with Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, but again, those were sequels to a game. It would be good to see that happen when they're not sequels. When you go from, I'm trying to think of the timeline right now. Like, when you go from, say, Majora's Mask to Twilight Princess, where's that natural progression that shows that those games have anything to do with each other?
Exactly.
There's like nothing. You just presume Link survives at the end and ends up getting with Malon or whatever, and that creates the bloodline that eventually leads to Ordon Village Link. Like, but we don't know. Not even Hyrule Story details it. Like, we don't know. We're filling in the blanks ourselves. We have no idea how those two games connect.
Yeah, it wasn't until years later when Hyrule Historia finally came out that it was all confirmed that the hero shade was Link from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of rumors, but it wasn't confirmed until, and like that kind of stuff that should be confirmed in game somewhere. Even if you don't want to mention it in the story because you just there's some people that just don't care about the lore. That's fine. Don't overbear your story, but there's so many like in A Link Between Worlds. I remember there was it ended up being hogwash, but there was like a book you could find that had all these Majora's Mask like quotes in it. To me, man, that's a pretty strong direct connection to Majora's Mask right there. Now,
definitely.
obviously the game wasn't. It was all Easter eggs.
Yeah.
But like there needs to be a clear like defining difference between Easter eggs and stuff that's lore related. Like, you know, like as an example, the thing in Majora's Mask 3D in the bomb shop or whatever that looks like a GameCube. Like, okay, like, yeah, that's an Easter egg. That's an obvious Easter egg. But, like, if you have, like, a painting somewhere that has an event that happened in Ocarina of Time, that's not an Easter egg. That's a connection.
Yeah.
So, like,
exactly.
you know, find a way to make your Easter eggs more obvious that they're Easter eggs, and then your lore connections are more obvious that they're lore. Because, you know, if there is, like, a picture in Majora's Mask that's from Ocarina of Time, as a fan, we're thinking, okay, this connects to Ocarina of Time. But logically, these people have no idea that Hyrule exists, so like, why would they have a picture from Hyrule there? You know, maybe it is just an Easter egg. So like, I don't know. There's a lot of things I feel like they can do better with the lore and explaining things. You know, at the same time, the nice thing about them not explaining things, it gives us oodles of reasons to make theory videos.
Definitely.
So like.
Gotta love them for that.
So, like, I mean, on one hand, they're giving us a lot of reasons to make content, a lot of reasons for us to answer your guys' questions, like we do in Zelda Inquiries here. But it's, just a really good question, like a really simple, you know, what Zelda has in store for us in the future. Like that, it's a really simple question. There's a lot that can go into it. So I hope we kind of. I hope, Zach Wetter, that we kind of gave you a nice, detailed look here, at least at what I would like to see, what Rick would like to see. Unfortunately, Darren wasn't here. Otherwise, this probably would have been, you know, a 50-minute talk just on, you know, what the future of Zelda could be. You know, it's just, let's just live in the here and now in 2016, enjoy what we're getting, and pray to God they don't screw up Zelda U.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
If Zelda U not only flops in sales, because you could argue maybe that's just because the Wii U isn't popular, but like the people that play it say it's not that great, we're in trouble. Like this whole franchise is in trouble if this happens.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, you know, I hate saying this. I don't know how many fans realize this. Series sales are not that great right now. They need something to be a hit. And if it's not, if they already can concede that, like, because of the Wii U, this might not be a hit, they at least want people who do play it to think it's really good, so they play the next Zelda game. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's a lot at stake with this Zelda game being open world, being the first open world Zelda game really since Zelda 1. There's a lot of ways they could really screw it up. So let's just worry about this year, 30th anniversary of Zelda. Let's celebrate the series. I do think it's silly to celebrate the series every 5 years because the last console game, we celebrated the series as well for the 25th. What are we going to celebrate, the 35th now? I have no idea. But apparently every console Zelda game requires a massive celebration. I'm almost surprised it didn't happen. Wait, did it happen for Twilight Princess? Wasn't Twilight Princess the 20th anniversary?
I'm not too sure. Honestly,
that was 2006,
I was too young to
so
remember.
that had to be the 20th anniversary. I don't remember anything special happening. I don't remember them hyping up 20th anniversary of Zelda. Because you know why they probably did? That was the year the Wii came out.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they didn't hype up the 20th anniversary of anything. Because they had a console coming out. But, like, yeah, like 20th anniversary is usually a big deal, too. They're making a big deal out of the Pokemon one now, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that's 20th anniversary. So, like... It's like it blows my mind like how they're doing this. Like we had the year of Luigi, which was totally irrelevant.
Super irrelevant.
Like Nintendo does these weird things. So like I hope it doesn't reach a point that every 5 years we're celebrating Zelda. As much as I love like all the celebration stuff, it's like it almost the more you do it, the less special it is.
Yeah, it just takes away from that.
Like normally I should be really excited. Symphony of the Goddesses is going on, yeah, but like we've had it 4 of the last 5 years, so. It's not, I mean, it's still absolutely fantastic. Go to it if you haven't seen it. But it just, we've had it for 4 or 5 years. Like, why? It's not really, like, a big deal to say it's back again. Like, okay. We kind of expect it to be back. So, yeah, I don't know. So let's just hope they do some really cool things for this anniversary. They do it right. And that maybe they decide every 10 years is a better way to go for celebrations. So the 40th anniversary, the 50th anniversary. Which I better be alive for those. Considering that I'm as old as the series is, I mean, I hope I'm alive when I'm 40 and when I'm 50. I don't know if I'll be able to see anymore, but I probably fried my eyes out by then. But
I won't be too far behind you. So,
but yeah, no, great question. We're gonna kind of end it on that. I'm gonna do one more question just because it's a little bit of a silly one, just to kind of wrap it up, because we could be talking about the future of Zelda for so long. You're talking to two people who theorize and do lots of crazy stuff, and I've been covering Zelda for 18 years. I wish I would have had this topic earlier, because I probably would have did it for a Boss Man episode. But maybe I still will. Just gonna give it some time, give it a break, learn some more things about Zelda U before I decide to talk more about the future. So I'm gonna kind of end this with where was this question I ended up?
Well, I mean, there's no other option.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Timothy Meadows from Facebook. That's a good one to end on. He says, on a scale of yes, remember, there's no other option here, just yes. Would you make babies with Tingle?
I'll just have to go with no comment on that one.
There's no. I mean, like it would have been cool if you went like yes, and then like on a scale of yes to like capital letter yes. That would at least given us like an option. There's like no option. Like you have to say yes. No comment. He pleads the fifth. So he's out. He doesn't. You got his answer. Would I make babies with Tingle? Assuming that Tingle has the ability to give birth. See, now we get into like, is he a male? Is he a female? In Zelda, does that even matter? Like, I don't know. Like, I personally am a guy, so like, I can't have a baby. Like, let's put it this way. Like, let me put it this way, Timothy. I don't want to get physical with Tingle, all right? But like, would I be willing to have him as a parent of my children on weekends? Sure. Like a guy who's old, he'd be like the awesome, fun uncle kind of parent. He never lets go of his childhood. He fully believes in his dream of becoming a fairy, and he never gives up on it. Like, that's kind of stuff I'd like my kids to have instilled in them. Hold on to their childhood and all that stuff. And then they have to have me to remind them that being an adult sucks.
Now let's put it this way. Would you rather have the one that we don't know very much about in Majora's Mask, or the one from Wind Waker that kind of seems crazy and bosses around a bunch of other Tingles?
Yeah, but then you gotta throw in like the one from like Four Swords Adventures. Like he
oh, that's true.
Just steals money. Like, do I want my kids to be a thief? And then you can't forget the Tingle games. Mm-hmm. Which actually, for those of you guys who haven't played it, like the Tingle games that have the whole backstory of Tingle, like it's actually like if you play those games, you're gonna feel bad for Tingle. Like it's a really sad backstory. Why he is the way he is in the Zelda games. Like it's. I don't know if Nintendo has made those games canon or not, but it would make a lot of sense if they did, because it explains a lot of the reasons that Tingle seems like he's crazy. But damn you, Uncle Rupee. If you guys have played the Tingle games, you'll understand the reference to Uncle Rupee. Oh man. Here's the thing. Let me start off. I really, really like Tingle. A lot. He's one of my favorite side characters in the games. There's a lot of people that hate him, especially in the United States. They think he's a creepy because he's a guy in his 30s, basically, who is dressing like a fairy. And, there was a time back when this first came out that it was like really controversial to dress like someone that reminds people of relationship statuses that were not widely accepted. Basically, same-sex relationships. And I know that back in the day, Tingle kind of reminded people of that in a way, for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know too many people that weren't around dressed as a fairy, but I'm sure they exist. I've always thought he was a cool character, like just really kooky, and the only time I didn't like him was when he was stealing my money, or it wasn't even running force gems. He was stealing force gems. Like that was the only time I didn't like him. Like, dude, why are you jacking my stuff? Like, you float in on your balloon. I can't do anything about it. You grab him. Then, like, you laugh at me as you fly away. Like, man. You are such a pro, dude. So, like, that's the thing. Like, I if I don't have to get physical with Tingle, and he is the one giving birth, because according to my girlfriend, giving birth is not fun, so I don't want to do it. Yeah. I'll make babies with Tingle under those conditions. If I have to give birth and if we have to get physical, I'm out. I don't have a physical attraction to him. I just think he'd be like a really fun dad or mom or uncle. I think he'd just be like just a fun one to have as long as you have the counterbalance to that. I feel like I'd be the counterbalance. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I'd be like, Tingle, teach me your ways. How do you fly with only 2 balloons? How do you fly with only 1? How? All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks for that really silly question. That's totally irrelevant, Timothy. Always fun times. I would like to thank Darren, who's no longer here, for spending some time with us today. I want to thank Rick here from RMFH. Yeah, he's a YouTube channel. I will plug your channel here. Like, I'll go link to it and I'll put it in the description and all that stuff. Would you like to share anything you might have upcoming that might be interesting to our fans?
I've got a new Gerudo timeline theory coming out here this week, with Andy from N Productions, Jesse from Game Over Jesse, and my buddy Grandstar. So look forward to that, guys. And thank you for having me, Nate. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool. Well, maybe we'll have you on future episodes. We have some other people knocking on the door wanting to get in. Guess people like working with us.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. You guys are great people.
All right, awesome.
Definitely.
You too, man. I really appreciate all the work you do and allowing us to cover some amazing theories and stuff you guys make. So,
thank you for featuring them.
Yep.
Seriously.
No problem. I've always believed that quality matters more than how popular you are.
Yeah.
So I feel like you create some quality stuff. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'll put a couple links to some of my favorite theories he's put on his channel down below. There also is tentatively, like, I'm going to be interviewing this dude, like, sometime in the future. It'll probably just be a text interview. So, if you guys have any questions you would like me to ask of him, you could feel free to send those in to nathan@zeldainformer.com, and I will potentially put them in the interview so you can, if you have any specific theories you would like him to address, any questions about the theories he does have, as I said, I encourage you to go check out his channel. Lots of good stuff. Obviously, like and subscribe to Zelda Informer here on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook. We're just type in Zelda Informer. We'll be the only Zelda Informer that pops up on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter @Zelda Informer. Obviously, check us out on our website, zeldainformer.com. We're also on. We have a RSS feed on FeedBurner. Don't know if you guys care about that. I might even put a link to it, but we do have people that subscribe to that. So good times. This is the editor-in-chief of Zelda Informer signing off. Welcome back, Zelda Inquiries in 2016.